Hi. Wow. Good start.
Hi, I'm the list girl, and true to the name, I'm a little bit obsessed with lists, of which this channel consists of 3. My bucket list allows me to come out of my comfort zone through experiencing new skills, hobbies, and activities, as well as introducing me to amazing new cultures and lifestyles. Then there's my personal upgrades list designed to help me pick up the traits and habits that I lack in order to grow and develop into a better person. And lastly, there's my career list to keep me on the track to success in both my YouTube career and my business of selling nerdy collectibles. But at the end of the day, I'm just a huge nerd somewhere on the spectrum with way too many hobbies, just trying to prove that life truly is what you make it.
With my list, I set out to discover the world, to discover new cultures, gain new experiences, new skills, but most importantly, I set out to discover myself.
Hi, I'm the list girl, and welcome to my videographic channel. Bucket list goal number 476 was to finish watching the entire Hunter x Hunter anime series. And I have just done that. It's something I've been trying to do for quite a while, and I finally got through it. I didn't know how to make this bucket list video, so the best idea I've come up with is make a review of it. Somewhat of a review, because this isn't really my thing. But this is what's happening today, and this is what you're getting. I hope you enjoy.
どうしてわかる、王子。
だって海鶴がそう言ってる。
何？
それにものすごくでっかい嵐が来るよ。本当だって匂いでわかるんだ。
So, I'm quite disappointed with Hunter x Hunter. Very much grasped my interest from the very get-go. It then raised my expectations and then slammed them onto the floor and then picked them back up and then drop-kicked them onto the ground and left me there. Why, Togoshi? Why? Why would you do this to me? It started when I was a teenager and I was slowly getting back into anime after growing up with Pokemon and Avatar and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all those things, and Doraemon, which I used to watch in Spanish for some reason when I was growing up back in Portugal. And then as a teen, when I was getting back into anime, I got into Hunter x Hunter and I fell in love with the first arc. The Hunter exam was brilliant and I was hooked and I binged my way through so fast. And then I kind of started falling away after getting into the Phantom Trope arc. I very much lost interest, and later on in my later teens, I tried watching it again because I was like, oh my god, yeah, the Hunter exam, that part was like, that arc was so good. And I went back and I watched it and I was like, that was so cool. And then got back into the Phantom Trope arc and I lost interest again. It was boring. I'm sorry, it was. And Kurapika, I couldn't give less of a shit about that guy. And what's even more annoying is that the creators of Hunter x Hunter put us through an entire arc of that shit and never bothered properly closing that chapter. Oh, yeah, sorry, spoilers alert. They left the Kurapika story wide open. Nothing was ever fulfilled. The only time you get a glimpse of what might have happened to the trope was in the very final montage. You see Kurapika sitting down in front of what might have been a counter or a desk or whatever, and a bunch of jars with the red eyes inside. That kind of says it all, but it makes it very anticlimactic, and you never know how it got from the point at the end of the arc to where he is then sitting in front of the eyes, which means that he must have got them all back, which means he must have gotten rid of the spiders, but it's never like explained or shown or anything. It's just, here's Kurapika's backstory, here's what he's trying to do, this is the start of him doing it. That story then drops off, and then right at the end, oh yeah, he completed what he wanted to do, but you know, you'll never know how or why. I mean, you did know how, you just won't know why. No, you did know why, you just don't find out how. Might have been in the books, I don't know, it might be in the manga. I might have to go look into the manga and find that shit out, even though I have zero interest in that part of the story. Thanks to me having thought, okay, I really want to get through this series. Hopefully once I get past this arc, it'll get good again. And I really want to find out what happens to Killua and Gon. And so I'm going to put this on my bucket list because I do want to finish the show before I die one day. And so I did that, and I finally, thanks to my bucket list goal to achieve it, I got past that arc and I came across my second favourite arc, which made me super happy to have finally have made my way through the previous shit with the spiders, and onto the Greed Island arc, where the boys head off into this virtual RPG world and collect a bunch of cards and defeat a bunch of monsters, which is basically what I came for. That's what I went into the Hunter x Hunter series for. That good shit. Defeating monsters and shit. And the arc truly reached out to me as a fellow card collector, as well as a lover of all things RPG and video games and all that goodness. I would have preferred slightly more of an RPG element to the arc, with potentially some added leveling up and some skill progression and maybe some buffers, that kind of thing. It would have been interesting to have seen what it would have looked like if the entire arc would have looked just like a video game type of thing, like you were watching someone play out an RPG, but it kind of just looked like the rest of the series, which kind of took away from the gaming aspect. And at one point I even forgot that they were even in a virtual video game. Although saying that, I still very much loved the arc. And then there was the Chimera Ants arc, which started off as an extreme bore fest, but slowly started to pick up towards the very end. But I feel like this entire arc could have been a lot shorter than it was. Could have gotten a lot more to the point rather than taking several detours off the topic, adding ridiculously and pointless filler episodes in between here and there. Which I know anime likes to do that, but Hunter x Hunter was taking the piss in this arc. Like the one about the little kid who was neglected as a child by his father. What the fuck was that about? What did that have to do with the rest of the story? It was just there. I might have missed the entire point completely, but it just seemed very out of place, very random. It just seemed like the producers and, should I say, Tagashi was just like, okay guys, we need some episodes, any ideas? Oh yeah, we can like bullshit our way through like some little kid's childhood story. He has nothing to do with the show, but you know, some good drama. And then later on we'll just pretend he's part of like some group that never even show their faces throughout the entire fucking show, but you know, that's some oh my god, I don't. Plus, spoiler alert, I cried over the chairman's pointless death. He tried so fucking hard, and in the end, the bodyguards of the Chimera King then found his burnt, raisin shrunk body and gave him pieces of themselves for him to chew on in order to heal himself back to health. Why? And third of all, screw you for killing off Netero. Also, his skills, that old man's fucking skills, he was one motherfucking badass. I couldn't have any more respect for that guy. With that giant godlike thing behind him and then the rose, now that, superb. I'd also like to point out that I really did not like, in fact, very much despised the 3 of the king's bodyguards. What a waste of breath. They were all extremely annoying in their own ways, and especially that butterfly dude. He needed to chill the fuck out. He must have legit been sniffing something, because what the hell was up with this shit?
Poof! The former royal guard! So Poof, incompetent Poof, you utter dimwit! You fail as a royal guard! Where will you go now? You don't know, do you? If the king isn't where you head to, you will be less than incompetent! No, Poof, scum of the earth. The truth is, you just don't want to admit it. You don't want him to be with that woman.
I swear, he must have been on something. I don't understand. Like, I've been watching anime for years, and I know that a lot is over-exaggerated, and the characters' emotions are extremely exaggerated, but something was not right there. Then there was the final arc, which I don't even want to bother discussing. What a waste of time that was. Oh my god. I mean, I like the part with Killua saving his sister and then being chased by the older brother. That was brilliant. But the selection of the next chairman, I could have gone without. That was a load of nonsense, a waste of time. Just in the end, they were just like, haha, psych, I quit, bye. What? You make us go through several episodes just for it to... Oh, God. I was very much, like, even a part of me was a little bit invested in that arc, because I was like, how cool would it be if Leorio, whatever his name is, actually won the election and became the next chairman? How cool would that be? Like, it might have actually given that character a purpose throughout the entire show, because let's be honest, he was just there. But no, not even that. They didn't even give him that. He was just a pointless side character in the group that just was there by accident. And then it ended annoyingly but beautifully at the same time. Annoyingly in the sense that Killua went off with his sister and they went on a journey of their own. I would have... And it made me sad because, like, it kind of killed the bromance a bit. I was like, oh my god, these kids are going to be best friends forever. And they're going to keep going on adventures and they're going to grow up and, like, be hardcore and keep being hunters together and just going on, like, missions together and doing all sorts of things. But they were like, nah, we're just gonna go off on our own and do our own shit. And Gon was like, okay, as if they haven't just spent like almost 200 episodes sharing a life together as like basically siblings. That's the kind of relationship I felt they had, and it was so sweet and caring and like badass and also competitive. I just loved it. And then at the end they just go their own ways, and that was very sad and annoying for me. But the moment that he had with his dad at the top of the tree, that was beautiful. with the sunset going down, and they were like talking about the adventures they'd been on, and like what's his name, Jing finally explained to Gon like why he left and what he desires out of becoming a hunter, and about the dream he wants to fulfill. And Gon's like proper hyped. He's like, yeah, I want to come with you. But then his dad's like, yeah, but you gotta, you know, grow up a little bit and develop a little bit before you can be at that kind of level, which is sweet and sort of, I don't know. But yeah, the last episode was very sweet, but it did sadden me that Killua and Gon kind of went their separate ways. It was a roller coaster. In short, it was a roller coaster. The show was a roller coaster. I was invested and then not, and then I was invested again and then I was not, and then I was invested again and then I was disappointed, and then at the end I was just like, okay. But anyway, overall, I'd give the show a 3 out of 5 for wasting my time, but having some good story parts in between here and there. The graphics were beautiful. The plot wasn't too bad, I guess. And many of the characters were lovable and enjoyable. But yeah, about half of the show was a waste of time, in my personal opinion. Not to mention the fact that when the show finally did end, there was a lot still left unanswered and unfinished. I might get into the manga and maybe finally get some answers, because the show definitely didn't give me many. But if I was to go back through it, for some reason decide to rewatch it, I would, I guess, just skip to the arcs that I did enjoy, which were very good. The Hunter Exam, Greed Island, the end of the Chimera Ants arc, and maybe the final episode. Let's see, that's the only stuff that really mattered. The important bit is I did get through it, which is the most important part, because it means that I get to tick this little number off of my bucket list. Also, I wrote a somewhat extensive, but not really extensive at all, review of this series on my All Things Nerdy website. If you're interested in reading that, I'll drop it in the description below. Also, just one final thing before I log off. One thing that really doesn't make any sense to me is how... So, the Chimera Queen gave birth to twins. One of them ended up being the reincarnation of Kite, but how could it have been the reincarnation of Kite if Kite was still alive when the twin was born? Can someone please explain that one to me? I can't wrap my head around that one. A lack of continuity there. Then there's so many lack of continuities throughout the show, but that one I just can't wrap my head around. But I'm now going through, I'm looking through Wikipedia, learning about the manga series, and there are 36 books. The story continues after volume 33. I know what I'm buying next. 33, 34, 35 and 36. Finally, I might get some answers. So far, I'm reading 33. This book is supposed to be right after the ending of the series, I think. But anyways, I'm a couple pages in, and there looks like it's gone back in time, or maybe not. But anyways, he's just brought up, Kurapika's just brought up the fact that he's on the hunt for the Crimson Eyes, which means that he still hasn't collected them yet, which means that the montage at the end of the movie was kind of like a sped up part of
the time right after the scene that Gon has with his dad, I do believe, up on top of the tree, which means that potentially this is happening between the time that him and his dad are up in the tree to the final montage of the series. And he's just brought up the Crimson Eyes, which means that I'm hoping that this means that the next couple of books will be him going after the Crimson Eyes, although they're also talking about going into the New World, which is the outer area of the world that they know, which is full of random sci-fi type shit. So yeah, hopefully I'll get some answers, is what I'm saying.
Just finished number 33. Still no information about what happened to the spiders. So on to 34.
Also, isn't my manga collection growing beautifully? Beautiful. The second I pick up the next manga and open it to the first page, we got some spider action, guys. We've got some spider action. Hopefully I'm about to get some answers, but I'm not too hopeful. Just finished book 35. Absolutely nothing about the Phantom trope in this one. In 34 there was a match between Phantom trope leader and Hisoka, where Hisoka got completely battered. There's still nothing about the Phantom trope and what happens to them eventually. However, there is one final book after this one, number 36, which means I needed to get to a computer ASAP. I am back home from taking a quick trip down to Hearts to the dentist. Excuse Georgia playing GT in the background, but I am on a tight schedule and I am on an exhibition and I have no time for the paperback, so Kindle it is. I have just finished book number 36, which is apparently the last manga in the series, and have more questions than I do answers, so that's great. I don't understand what the hell just happened. The manga finished hanger and nothing was left resolved, like absolutely nothing. Phantom trope was in this manga. And so what happened in these last 3 books? Basically, let's just face Kurapika went onto the boat towards the New World. Everybody apparently was on it. There were like a bunch of hunters from like the first arc in the hunter exam that I hadn't seen in ages. There were several hunters from the second arc, from the Kurapika Phantom trope arc, that I did not enjoy, like Melody, for example. She was on the boat. The Phantom trope were also on the boat. Apparently Hisoka was also on the boat. So everybody apparently was on the boat towards the New World, and the Phantom trope was on the boat in order to capture and kill Hisoka, because he betrayed them. That was never resolved. They were like looking for him and then the book ended. So yeah, I still don't know what happened to the Phantom trope. I don't know how Kurapika got the eyes. I don't know if Hisoka actually dies in the end, and the last 3 books have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with Gon or Killua. In other words, I've just wasted more time on this fucking series.
And the manga is done, the anime is done. They've both been like, they've both finished. So there isn't going to be any more. And I'm just left with all these questions. Nothing, absolutely nothing, apart from Gon finding his dad, has been fixed in this series. And usually, everything that I've been taught in creative writing, everything that I have learnt myself from writing books, if you give a character a desire, the book should, or the series should, either give it to them or not give it to them, but make it obvious that they didn't get it. They shouldn't just leave it hanging like, oh, who knows? They should either give them the desire, allow the character to attain the desire that they wanted, or not to attain the desire, but it should be made obvious that they didn't attain it. Things should always be fixed unless you're planning to write like another book after. Then yeah, leave it on a cliffhanger. But if nothing was resolved, I've wasted enough time on this series. I'm done. I complete the bucket list goal. I even read 4 more books in order to try, answer what was left unsaid in the anime series, and still nothing in the anime series is done. So there is nothing left for me to do but to log off. And so that's what I'm gonna do. If you're planning on watching Hunter x Hunter series, just know nothing will make sense in the end. Nothing. Okay. I am the list girl, logging off, but before I do, I have one question for you. What is your next adventure? Don't watch Hunter x Hunter. Just don't.